What an absolute fucking banger. All right, let me just wash my hands and we'll talk about it. 2 seconds. By the way, I am open to the idea of a double feature because still a ton of you here, and I drank a Red Bull. But is now the portion of film night where we talk about the movie. So you just watched, oh, Soul Boot, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So we're going to talk about the movie a little bit. If you've never been here for film night, see Cal, thank you so much. This is the class part of the film class. You watch the movie now. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. So A Fistful of Dollars is based on a Japanese film by the name of Yojimbo. You might have heard of Yojimbo. It's by the greatest Japanese director of all time, arguably, a guy by the name of Akira Kurosawa. And it has one of the greatest Japanese actors of all time, Toshiro Mifune, in the lead. Yeah, that was right at the beginning. But Yojimbo is my favorite Akira Kurosawa film, kind of balanced with a few others, but I love Yojimbo. And Yojimbo is like a classic Japanese samurai film. Typic Pain, thank you so much. Where basically samurai goes into town and splits the forces of evil down the middle. And very similarly to this film, almost frame for frame, ends up killing both sides. Now, the interesting thing about Yojimbo, and kind of the place where people think that Sergio Leone got the inspiration, is there is a character in Yojimbo who is like the first samurai gunman. This character right here. I have not been able to find a character in film or otherwise that is a gunman samurai before this incarnation, but obviously later in anime and film, the gunman samurai kind of becomes its own trope. And it's a really cool character, and that's probably where Sergio Leone saw it while he was making spaghetti westerns, and he was like, yo. In case you don't know what a spaghetti western is, by the way, spaghetti westerns were westerns that were filmed in Italy. So this is a spaghetti western. Now, the other fascinating thing is Yojimbo isn't the only Akira Kurosawa film to be turned into a western. In fact, it's not even the first. The first would be Seven Samurai. In case you've never seen it, Seven Samurai is considered the great samurai movie of all time. And it's adapted into a film called The Magnificent Seven. I don't think The Magnificent Seven is nearly as good as For a Fistful of Dollars. However, Seven Samurai is fucking incredible. We've watched it in film night. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It's amazing. But those are all the kind of laterals between Akira Kurosawa's filmmaking and Sergio Leone's Fistful of Dollars. Now, the other thing you will notice immediately, which is really fun, is that Back to the Future 2 also directly references this movie with the plate that he wears. But it's a classic. Now, the other thing that's classic about this, and I mentioned it at the beginning, I never say his name right. Ennio Morricone. I can't say it. But the guy who basically did all the soundtrack for these movies has made some of the greatest, like, these soundtracks are insane. Thank you for the hype train, by the way. Ennio Morricone. I can't say that. I did my best, goddammit. Anyway, the sound in these movies is tremendous. The spaghetti Western era of filmmaking is kind of like, in my opinion, like almost pinnacle silver screen type filmmaking. Like, you can really see the craft, and it's so interesting that like such a polished version of filmmaking culminates with such a we'll call it antithetical subject for its movies, right? Like the Western is so dirty, and like when you actually think about the Wild West, it's like so gritty and dirty and lawless and, you know, but the filmmaking that went into it is just about like the cleanest filmmaking you can ever see. Like, there's not even blood in this movie, right? It's so boiled down to like craft that they don't even really have like blood. They're not worrying about gore. It's based on Criterion Japanese cinema. Like, it's when you think about spaghetti Westerns, there is this kind of like uncanny, almost like Shakespearean and like stage play element of them. And it's so strange when you juxtapose it to the stories they're telling, right? Like, Clint Eastwood is like the most gruff leading man you can think of, and they're in these movies that look like they could be adapted for the stage. It's really fascinating. It's a fascinating genre to go down the rabbit hole on. And I actually love the way Jimmy Whipsit described it. It's like American kabuki, where Westerns had kind of like their own cadence and like conformity and trope to them, which is fascinating. And then it kind of just, like, the Western really kind of just disappeared. Every once in a while, you will get a Western, you'll get a 310 to Yuma, you'll get a Tombstone, but really they are very few and far between. Like, where now you still get like a war movie a year, you still get a ton of horror, you still get a ton of sci-fi, but really a good Western gets less and less frequent. Like, you might get one every 3 years, every 4 years. And at a time, they were the most popular genre of film, like, in the world. And you would get dozens of Westerns a year. Which it's just a really interesting thing to think about, that a genre has kind of like disappeared. What's your favorite Western? Tombstone. Tombstone is by far my favorite Western. They were around for like 40 years, but all those other genres were around too, right? Sci-fi was around, still pumping. Horror was around, still pumping. Like, it's just interesting. I don't think much of the sound in this movie is practical. You might look that up, but I don't think you're right with your initial statement. I don't think there's much practical sound at all in this film. I think this is almost all ADR and Foley. So yeah, I think this movie is almost completely ADR and Foley from top to bottom, which again is such a crazy act of craft. You know what I mean? To like be like, oh, we can get this sound better in a fucking sound booth, so don't even record it. Um, uh, ADR, someone asked, or automated dialogue replacement is a post-production audio process where dialogue is re-recorded in a studio to replace dialogue recorded on set that is unusable due to issues like background noise, poor microphone placement, or unclear speech. And at this time in history, there were a lot of films that essentially the entire film was just ADR'd for the preference of the filmmaker, which is fascinating. But the sound in the movie is so terrible and poorly synced. So terrible and poorly synced. I think you might be struggling from a recency bias on that one, honestly. When you think about how old this film actually is, when you think about that this is a film from the 60s, if you were to compare it to other films from the 50s and 60s, I think you would find that the sound in this is actually enormously clear. Like it's a very clear sound. I don't think they were worried necessarily about their lip sync as much as we do now, because the resolution you just watch this film in is probably higher than any resolution that moviegoers watched this film in. They were speaking Italian. They were not speaking Italian. It was filmed in Italy, but they never spoke Italian in this film. The other thing that is really interesting about your era of media consumption, and it was something we learned at BuzzFeed, is that this entire generation is audio perverts. Like you are the headphone generation. And you will notice to this day that you, like the people in your age group right now, will watch stuff on the internet that looks like dog shit. You'll watch pirated episodes of stuff in like 300p, right? You don't give a fuck about the resolution, but the audio is so important to you. The audio is so important to you, like the quality of the audio. And so you are like ultra scrupulous about how you consume audio. That comes from a lot of like headphone use. That comes from a lot of neurodivergence, actually. But like you are the audio generation, truly. And if you go back and you watch films from this time period or before, there's actually like a lot of crackling and popping and audio distortion that is inherent to the project. Now, the other thing that's really interesting is usually when someone your age watches an old movie, it's been cleaned up for you. How has Fistful of Dollars impacted me in my love for film? I think that, like I was saying, old Westerns are probably the best, like some of the best film craft of their era. I think one thing that Westerns do better than almost any film genre is they teach you how to play off of trope. Like if you wanted to write a comic book and you wanted to learn your storytelling style from a film genre, I would tell you to start with Westerns, because so much of this movie is nonverbal. I don't even know if you really noticed how much of this film is conveyed with like looks and with close-ups and with trope. But like, for example, right, I'm sure a lot of you were there right at the beginning of the film. What is the very first thing that happens in this movie? Clint Eastwood walks into town. You hear a little boy crying, and the bad guy starts shooting at this child's feet. And you're like, immediately like, that guy's a fucking monster. And it just wastes no time in visually establishing, here's your bad guy, here's your good guy, here's the love interest. And I think that is lost in a big way in modern film. And basically, they talk about this where a lot of film goers in the modern film era basically need and request for the plot to be basically just spoken to them. If you watch a Marvel movie now, you will notice that the characters will narrate the plot, and they'll sometimes do it in like a cutesy way where they'll be like, so you're telling me we have to get in, suck Thanos' cock, and get out without any of the intergalactic glorps realizing we're there, or the universe will blow up? Yeah, sounds fun. They don't do that to make a joke. They do that to remind the fucking audience what is happening. Because so many of you are on your phone, or you're not fucking paying it. Not you particular, you're in a fucking film class. But your peers, your dirty, disgusting peers, they don't fucking pay attention. And so it's great to see projects that were still really good at conveying the plot non-verbally, conveying the plot with images. It's really fun. Now, okay, we'll get into this. If you just watched A Fistful of Dollars, right? You watched, and this is really fun, you watched part of a trilogy. Actually, the first of 3 films in a trilogy that goes A Fistful of Dollars, A Few More Dollars, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Which are 3 movies that feature Blondie, the guy you just watched, as a main character. So if you enjoyed this, I highly recommend watching the trilogy, but especially The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you've never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it is fucking phenomenal. You know what you are, Blondie? You're a no good son of a... Wah! Phenomenal. Anyway, I've given my spiel. I think I can open it up a little bit more to you, and we can kind of parse our way through it. Why do you think Westerns aren't as prevalent a genre anymore, and why don't we see them much anymore? I think Westerns got very formulaic. Also, I think that the fantasy of the American West kind of grew out of white men in this country. I think in the 60s, there were a lot of guys that grew up in the 50s, 40s, and 30s that had this fantasy of like manifest destiny and like claiming the world for themselves. And the grizzled protagonist just going into an empty town and killing everybody and taking it for himself was like, it's just not as prevalent anymore. Is Django a Western? Django is absolutely a Western. Why were so many Westerns filmed in Italy? Because rustic Italy looked like the American Southland, and it was cheaper than filming in the United States. Also, Sergio Leone just wanted to film there. Remember Westworld? I do. I just threw you a dono. I don't know if I have donos on right now. Hopefully it comes through. Aren't they filmed in Spain? Yes. You taught us about Japanese film-inspired spaghetti westerns. What do you think of Tampopo as a ramen western? Tampopo as a ramen western. I don't know what you're asking. I don't know what you're like. I love Tom Popo, but I don't know what you're asking about it. Which of the 3 movies is your favorite? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's a noodle joke. Oh, okay. Would you ever watch Lawrence of Arabia? I actually really have wanted to watch Lawrence of Arabia. The problem is it's a 4-hour movie. Real talk. Tom Popo ain't even a Western. Yeah, that's kind of what I was like. What is he saying? I watched it today. You just watched Lawrence of Arabia today? That's incredible. I noticed periodically the bell would toll throughout the movie. Is it supposed to symbolize something? Actually, I think that is just borrowed from Yojimbo because they have a bell in that movie. But do you not have 4 free hours? I don't know how many people would dig into Lawrence of Arabia. It's really Dono was on screen, just no audio. Oh shit! Can anybody put me what it said? I don't know why it didn't play. That's really weird. Sorry about that. I have alerts on. That's strange. Do you have any other Westerns you'd recommend that I can show my girlfriends when I go over? Tombstone is my favorite. Tombstone is my absolute favorite. You can really see Tarantino's inspiration from these films. I mean, the amazing thing that I'm going to tell you is if you know what movies to watch, you can basically see where Tarantino borrowed almost every one of his films, right? Like if you watch Masters of Flying Guillotine, then you can go back and like One Armed Boxer and stuff like that. You can go back and watch Kill Bill, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck. Like this is almost direct inspiration. Same thing with Jackie Brown. Like go watch old blaxploitation films.
This is off topic, but I was on vacation last week and I introduced my brother and his friends to Point Break, 1991, and they all gave it a 70/100 or less and said Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman was better. How should I respond, or should I just commit crime?
Sometimes people aren't ready for the real greats. But yeah, I do think that Quentin Tarantino is like Tarantino is bad. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. Please, let me clarify. Tarantino is a lover of film. And so a lot of his films, the theory is that there are 2 genres of Tarantino film. There's the Tarantino reality universe, right? Where he is basically making films that are set in reality. This is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then there are films that are set in his film universe, like Kill Bill. Yeah, Reservoir Dogs is reality. Kill Bill, Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction are basically a movie within a movie. And so he knows he is making a trope film, and those trope films are essentially based on and inspired by films that he loved. Tarantino is a film like junkie. Like this man loves and watches and consumes film more than anybody in this chat. He's a freak. And so what I'm saying is that like his film inspiration is very easy to follow because he doesn't try and hide it. Tarantino is very obvious and open about like, yeah, these are the movies that I like, man. And I'm just going to make movies that I like, man. I think one really great example of how much Tarantino loves film, and this is a theory of mine, but I think it is true. Tarantino loves Kung Fu. He loves Kung Fu, right? That's why he made Kill Bill. And the films that inspired Kill Bill are films like Master of Flying Guillotine and Wu-Tang films and like old Kung Fu and like kind of chopped Kung Fu. Like kung fu movies that are not really technically good films. Like they have a lot of issues with them. But if you love kung fu, Bruce Lee joints, no. Antithesis. Hear me out. They are kind of exploitative films, kind of like blaxploitation films. And the biggest hater of that genre ever was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee went on the record saying that he thought exploitative kung fu movies like that were bad for martial arts, bad for Asia, bad for filmmaking. And that is why Bruce Lee went down his path of making Enter the Dragon. Enter the Dragon was Bruce Lee's rebuttal to kung fu. If you ever watch Enter the Dragon, a big part of that movie is Bruce Lee talking about the like Tao and psychology behind martial arts, right? That's why there's so many asides like, do not point at the heavens. To point your finger, you'll miss all that heavenly glory. So like all of that was Bruce Lee trying to incept the best parts of martial arts into his fucking film, right? Now, I think that Quentin Tarantino is so petty that when he heard Bruce Lee say those things, he was offended because he loved those movies. And he said, those movies aren't exploitative, man. They're just good movies. Fuck you, man. What do you know about good movies? Fuck you, man. So Quentin Tarantino held on a grudge for like 30 years, 40 years, until he made Once Upon a Time in Mexico, or not in Mexico, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he depicted Bruce Lee as a spoiled brat who gets the shit kicked out of him because he was so offended by his take on kung fu movies. I honestly think that is why he did that.
That's very cool.
49 Scottsdale.
Because when that movie came out, Tarantino's depiction of Bruce Lee is so
cool.
Is that why Tarantino
strange.
Bruce Lee is kind of an asshole in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes, exactly. That depiction of Bruce Lee is so fucking strange. You're literally talking about a man that was ubiquitously loved in Hollywood. You almost can't find a person who has ever gone on record and been like, yo, Bruce Lee was a dick. Everyone was like, this guy is incredible. He was so kind. He made time for everyone. He was on the straight and narrow. He changed martial arts. He gave back. He had a family. And this one director, 30 years later, was like, nah, fuck Bruce Lee especially. I'm going to make a movie depiction of him decades after his fucking death that just makes him look like a bitch. So a generation of film goers who never saw him, don't know who he is, and worship me are going to think you were a bitch ass. Psychotic.
Oh yeah, wow, that's very cool.
Speaking of martial arts movies, if we do a double feature, IP Man is free on YouTube.
Yeah, people love Ip Man. Ip Man's very good. I worship Tarantino and still do. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Tarantino is one of the best filmmakers of all time. I think all the best filmmakers of all time are fucking crazy. I think if you were going to allow bad behavior or crazy behavior to not allow you to watch a filmmaker's work, you basically would eliminate like 20 of the top 30 directors from the list. So I still love Tarantino movies. And I can compartmentalize that the guy is like kind of a sex pest, kind of a dickhead, and kind of a crazy person because his movies are fucking transcendent. So,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
wow.
to
That's
each
very
their
cool.
own, though.
You just weren't ready for the scene where Tarantino licked Bruce Lee's feet.
I'm a
There you
stud.
go.
I'm ballsy.
Separate the art
I
from
don't
the
take no
artist.
shit
Listen,
from
man,
anyone.
Favorite Clint Eastwood movie he directed?
let me look at this real quick. I think that is separate for each artist. For me, that's separate for each artist, right? I think for someone like a Tarantino whose biggest crime is being an asshole, I can live with it. For someone like Kanye West, who's like fucking abhorrent, or like a Kevin Spacey, then I'm probably like, nah, I'm good on that. But if someone's just a fucking asshole, then I can be like, yeah, I know some assholes who tickle me, you know? Favorites Clint Eastwood directed movie. Let's see. Let's get a list. Oop. Man, he has directed a lot of fucking shit. Holy shit. Unforgiven is pretty fucking good, man. Oh, dude. Actually, this one's easy for me. It's Mystic River. Mystic River is fucking crazy, bro. Mystic River is a fucking doozy of a movie. What do you think is a better sequel? Senjuro to Yojimbo or A Few More Dollars to A Fistful of Dollars? Oh, that's really tough. For me, it's going to be both Yojimbo and Senjuro. I just think Akira Kurosawa is the best. He's the best. Weinstein was his major collaborator, and Tarantino knew of his behavior but dismissed it. What's your take regarding whether or not his backing propelled Tarantino further than he could have gotten on his own? Listen, all of Hollywood knew Weinstein was a scumbag. Like, I'm just going to make something very clear to you. The Weinstein situation was such an open secret that like people outside of Hollywood knew about it, right? But the degree of what they knew, I think, was a sliding scale. People really close to Weinstein that knew that he was a rapist are way more culpable than people that had heard that Weinstein was a sex pest scumbag. Do you understand that? And I don't know what Tarantino knew, right? Did Tarantino knew that Weinstein was a scumbag? I'm sure. Did he know that he was actually sexually assaulting people? I don't know. And I don't know if you'll ever know. What did he propel him farther than he would have gone? I don't know about that. I would have to see Weinstein's involvement with Pulp Fiction. Yeah, so he did produce and distribute. That's interesting. I guess you would have to ask, like, would Tarantino's talent be able to carry him on his own? Absolutely. 100%. No doubt. He's one of the most talented directors of all time. Would he have ever gotten the call? Would he have ever gotten the chance? You don't know. You know, I know 10 directors in Hollywood right now that are so talented and they don't have that fucking, that little, you know, thing to push them over. But yeah, I just, it's impossible to know something like that. It's impossible to know what Tarantino knew, honestly. So that's for me, that's a really hard one to chalk up one way or the other. Tarantino didn't care. I think you're making a lot of assumptions. I'll be very frank there. I think you're making dangerous assumptions now. Ong Bak is a fantastic film. What are we, EP? Are we going to do some gaming tonight? We might watch another movie, but would you consider Suspiria 1977 for film night? Suspiria is one of my favorite movies of all time. Dario Argento is probably my favorite horror director ever. Why did so many people cover for Harvey Weinstein? I just want to explain something. We're gonna move on from the Weinstein of it all, but I just want to explain something to you guys real quick. We watched Saving Private Ryan here, right? We watched Saving Private Ryan here, right? We all watched it together. It's maybe one of the best 5 movies ever made. It cleared out the Academy Awards, except that it lost Best Picture to this piece of shit film called Shakespeare in Love. Why did it lose to Shakespeare in Love? Because Harvey Weinstein said so. Period. Harvey Weinstein literally said, my movie is going to win Best Picture. And this piece of shit beat one of the great films of all time. So when you ask, why did people cover for Harvey Weinstein? Because he had godlike power in Hollywood. I don't think you can understand how much money and influence he had in Hollywood. I don't think you have anything that you can relate it to. I don't think you have anything that you can honestly even conceptualize slightly. Like, let me put it this way. Let's say you work a normal job, right? Let's say you're an attorney, okay? And your boss does something insidious and you need to speak up, and you know that you could lose your job if you speak up, right? People in Hollywood had that same fear, except imagine now that you could never practice law anywhere in the world ever again in any language for the rest of your life, and that your ability to make any money in the entertainment field was gone if you crossed that person ever. Like, that is the type of influence Harvey Weinstein had. Okay, and shut the fuck up. What do you work at a Best Buy? Fuck you, bitch. You dumb motherfucker. You act like shit is so fucking easy. Stupid ass. When you have a fucking family to feed. Dumbass motherfucker. Okay, and let me go live in a cave like fucking Dionysus. Okay, and you're banned. You can go somewhere else. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that it probably requires a little fucking
Neff,
empathy.
Have you seen the stop motion film Mad God? Is it safe,
Yes.
in your opinion, to introduce normies to unique films?
Not Mad God. No, I wouldn't show a normie Mad God. I think you'd traumatize them. I love Mad God. I fucking love that project. That is not a normie project. A non-verbal stop motion 2.5 hour long movie without any narrative plot that is all fucking body horror. No. That's not for normies. You've misread the situation. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Harvey Weinstein. He's obviously an evil son of a bitch. He's obviously horrible. And that whole situation is horrible. I was basically just talking about the danger of chalking up responsibility to everybody around it in varying levels of what they knew or their involvement seems very strange retroactively. Suspiria is one of my favorite movies of all time. Dario Argento is the creator of yellow horror. I love this genre of filmmaking. It is my favorite genre of filmmaking.
Shout out to the victims that came forth.
Yep. Anyway, this is my favorite genre of filmmaking, and it's really what encouraged me to basically major in horror. I love the way it looks. I love how fucking saturated it is. I love how fucking chaotic the frame is and like the weird fucking geometric shapes of it all. It's fucking incredible. It's my favorite shit. If you've never watched a Dario Argento movie, it's incredible. Galileo, yes, Galileo, but I can never say it because I don't fucking speak Italian. And then everybody's like, oh, your pronunciation. So I just call it yellow because that's Italian for yellow. Said it wrong? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Chat, stop pissing Will off. Dude, that's why I literally call it yellow horror, because no matter how I pronounce it, there's some fucking person, I don't know, in Crete being like, you don't pronounce it right. It's blah, blah, blah. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. I don't care. Shut up. Just like my mama used to pronounce it. Fuck you. This is Fredophobic. Yes, it is. Argento is good, but Herschel Gordon Lewis is completely demented. Yeah, like Bloodfest and shit. I think yes. I would say that I don't think it's like the gore or the horror that really makes me love Argento, but like the Argento invented the slasher film, right? Like without Argento, there are no slashers. Right. And I love the slasher genre. I love this idea of like ultra sexed, beautiful, saturated, over the top. It's really good. What's your opinion on Mandy? Mandy's one of my top 5 movies ever. I based my logo on the lettering from Mandy. I think Panos Cosmatos is the great filmmaker of our generation. I can't wait to see what he makes next. The short that he made in that like Cabinet of Curiosities was by far the best one. Mandy is a 10 out of 10 movie. Black Rainbow is misunderstood. But yeah, I think he's the best. I think he's the best.
Oh yeah, wow, that's very cool.
Colossal Disappointment, man. Thank you so much. What's better, Yojimbo or Fistful? Yojimbo. Yojimbo's way better, in my opinion. But they're both fantastic. I just Akira Kurosawa is the guy, right? He's the guy. What does yellow horror mean as a genre? Like, it's the best way I can describe it is like proto slasher. Like, if you were to look at a Jason film, yellow horror would be like the prototype that built Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those movies started with yellow horror. And if you like Friday the 13th, Halloween, all those, go watch those Argento films. Watch Deep Red, watch Suspiria, watch Inferno. They're incredible. Was Twin Peaks aping its style? Aping, I assume you mean like copying someone? I don't think so. I think Lynch, to his credit, is one of the most like original filmmakers that you can think of. Like he really did the damn thing his own way. Like there are a lot of criticisms you can make of Lynch. Aping his style is not one of them. Like he was one of God's own prototypes. Did you ever see Vortex? I didn't. I heard it was not great, but I know I need to watch it. What do you think of the new Suspiria? At first, I hated the remake of Suspiria, I'll be honest, because I thought the color was all wrong. I watched it and I was like, this guy has never watched an Argento movie in his life. The color sucks. The whole thing is fucking brown. Like, how did you fuck this up? I was really upset. I was really upset with how the film looked. It was so fucking brown and muted, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off because it's like one of the conventions of that style of filmmaking are these really bright, like technicolors. And I would look at this and I'd be like, what is this? A fucking anthropology? Everything is so fucking muted. Why does it look like this? And it put me off in a big way. Now I've watched it a few times. I've watched that movie probably three or four times because, again, Suspiria is one of my favorite movies of all time. I fucking love that movie. And now I appreciate it more. I'm upset we didn't get the trilogy. I think they were opening themselves up to do the Sisters of Hate, which is a really cool trilogy. And I wanted to see the other two films really badly. I wanted to see how he was going to expand on the three sisters. And then it just never happened. I don't think Suspiria performed well enough for them to ever greenlight the other two films, Tenebrae and Inferno, which is really sad. So we never got Tenebrae and we never got Inferno, but they would have been really cool. Any other film questions? What do you think of The Harder They Fall? Brother. You're talking about Jimmy Cliff? You're talking about the original, right? You're not talking about the new one. You're talking about Jimmy Cliff, right? Please tell me you're talking about the fucking Jamaican movie and not the Western. I'm just going to assume you're talking about the Jimmy Cliff one. Okay. Jimmy Cliff, if you never...
for me when I die. But between the day you're born and when you die, they never seem to hear even your cry. So as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share now. What's mine?
Okay, this movie goes fucking crazy. If you've never heard of this movie, it's about a guy living in fucking Jamrock in Jamaica, and he is like desperate, and he records a track in a radio station, and it becomes a hit right before he fucking commits a robbery. So he's a wanted outlaw as his song becomes a #1 single in the United States and Jamaica. And so he like becomes this wanted renegade. Like it's so fucking good, man. It's actually such a fucking phenomenal film. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know what's crazy? I've been doing this film night thing for 5 fucking years. And there's about 100 movies that get asked about every time. In 5 years, no one has asked me about that movie. So good taste, chatter, good taste. Maybe you could help me with a random question. I love Annihilation. It's one of my favorites ever, but I have never seen anything else like it. Got any recs? The movie that I think of when I think of Annihilation, and it's basically annihilation with no effects, is Stalker. If you've never seen the movie Stalker, I think you would like Stalker a lot. It's a Tarkovsky film. Stalker is essentially annihilation with no effects. So if you would like that, you would like this movie. Okay. In fact, I think there's some level of Annihilation being based on Stalker. I could be wrong. Would you consider showing Canadian independent sci-fi horror movie Cube? Already done. I love Cube. Astronomical. Fucking love Cube. Inland Empire versus Lost Highway versus Mulholland. Mulholland. Have you ever watched any of Ari Aster's short films? No, I don't think I have, actually. Fan of Nightcrawler? Nightcrawler is really good. Nightcrawler is one of those movies that I expected to be terrible that ended up being incredible. How much would you goon in the Criterion Closet? I think I would take a lot of films. I think I would steal a bunch of films. All right, we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel where people are just asking the have you seens. So does anybody have any questions? They're just doing movie. So I always say film night is over when we get to the part in the night where people are just writing the title of a film and a question mark. Does anybody have any more questions about this film, about Westerns, about film in general that is more than, hey, have you seen this movie? Because honestly, that doesn't matter in my opinion. Whether I like something or don't isn't really a critical take on film. It's just kind of like, yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that. I don't know if this is related to movie night, but what is your take on the Sopranos ending? It's satisfyingly upsetting to me. Yeah, I did. Whoa, people! Whoa! Oh, shit! Thank you. I think for me, thank you so much, people. I think for me, the Sopranos ending is one of those fascinating endings that at the time, I fucking hated it. I'm going to be real with you. At the time, I fucking hated the ending of the Sopranos. Why? Because I had just gone 8 years with them. I think everybody was kind of waiting to see what happened to Tony.
I don't take no shit from anyone.
Fae film that reminds you of Fistful of Dollars.
I mean, Yojimbo. That's a good answer to that. I hope that satisfies Yojimbo. Yeah, I think at the time, everybody wanted to see what happened to Tony. And this kind of ending that was ambiguous was unsatisfying at the time because people wanted to know how it ended. Now, I think that I'm older and wiser and can look back at it with different eyes. I don't think it is an ambiguous ending. I think it is a concrete ending. I think the reason that the screen goes black is because the entire show, you're tied to Tony's perspective. And I think the show going to black is Tony being killed. And so I think that is what happens as the screen goes black, is that Tony is dead. And I think at the time, the reason it was ambiguous is because people didn't want the obvious. People didn't want to know, right? Everybody wanted Tony to win. So Tony dying and losing was such like a impossible thought for fans. But I think what we have observed in modern times, and this is really interesting, is you need to kill your main character at the end of a show. Now, you have to. Or else you will be forced to make a sequel. Period. We will get the Jon Snow show. We will. It's going to happen eventually. You need to kill your main character. You have to. Because otherwise, you're going to have to make another project. We live in a time where if your main character is alive,
the sex tape my
there will
parents made,
be
and would you say it's
more
Criterion?
episodes. I'm sorry. What did you say? Can someone wrote what they said? I was finishing what I was saying. Thank you so much for the donut. I didn't see what they said. But yeah, I think ultimately what we are seeing is that everybody who is left alive will get a subsequent project. And sometimes people that aren't alive. Tony's children, I don't think either one of them are a strong enough actor to build a show around. I think all the characters in The Sopranos that really could have carried it died by the end. But yeah. Any more questions? Damn, I just looked at Will's letterbox and it's crazy. He has Sorry to Bother You in the top 3.
I'm a stud. I'm
No,
bossy.
I don't. I hate that
I don't take
movie.
no shit from anyone.
If Mad God is too much for normies, can you give me a good normie to Criterion pipeline? Something that I can host my own movie nights to get people to the level of crazy that I would find introspective. Like a 5 to 10 movie pipeline.
Huh. What is a good like intro Criterion? Honestly, it's the ones that the normies see and it blows their mind. Memento is a great example of like a film that like you see the first time and you're like, "Oh shit. That's Criterion? Holy fuck." Mad God isn't Criterion, really. That is a crazy take. Mad God is the most successful stop motion project of all time in terms of its scope. It's a movie that took 30 years to make. It was made by a single man. If that's not Criterion, I don't understand what an auteur is. Royal Tenenbaums, Fight Club, Memento,
that's very cool.
The Lighthouse.
Yeah, what's up? Well, I got a question.
Yeah.
If you could cast one spell, what kind of spell would it be? Also, when's the last time you really Georged your fucking shit, dog?
Jorked my shit? I don't know. It's been a while since I jorked my shit. Because I was down in Vegas, so I wasn't jorking my shit. But spell that I could cast.
I'm a stud.
Charm person.
I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone.
Well, speaking of film, have you seen the sex tape my parents made, and would you say it's Criterion?
I mean, I'm partial because I'm in it and I was really giving it to your mother, but I don't know if it can be considered Criterion. Thank you for the point.
What's the film about? What's it?
Dude, Tarantino's Top Gun. This is fantastic.
Really about? What genre does it take?
What like the spine?
The spine.
Like one sentence? Like
No, I don't fucking Boy Meets Girl. I don't give a shit about that. Fuck Boy Meets Girl. Fuck motorcycle movie. No.
This
What
is Tarantino on Top Gun.
is really being said? What's really being seen? That's what you're talking about. Because the whole idea, man, is subversion. You want subversion on a massive level. You know what one of the greatest fucking scripts ever written in the history of Hollywood is?
What?
Top Gun.
Oh, come on.
Top Gun is fucking great. What is Top Gun? You think it's a story about a bunch of fighter pilots?
Yeah, it's about a bunch of guys waving their dicks around.
It is a story about a man's struggle with his own homosexuality. That's serious. That is what Top Gun is about, man. You've got Maverick, all right? He's on the edge, man. He's right on the fucking line, all right? And you've got Iceman and all his crew.
Right.
They're gay. And they represent the gay man,
Right.
all right? And they're saying, go the gay way, go the gay way. He could go both ways.
What about Kelly McGillis? Right?
Kelly McGillis, she's heterosexuality. She's saying, no. Go the normal way. Play by the rules, go the normal way. And they're saying, no, go the gay way. Be the gay way. Go for the gay way. All right, that is what's going on throughout that whole movie. He goes to her house, right? All right, it looks like they're going to have sex. You know, they're just kind of sitting back. He's taking a shower and everything. They don't have sex. He gets on the motorcycle, drives away. She's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Next scene you see her, she is in the elevator. She is dressed like a guy. She's got the cap on. She's got the aviator glasses. She's wearing the same jacket that the Iceman wears. She is, okay, this is how I gotta get this guy. This guy's going towards the gay way. So I gotta bring him back. I gotta bring him back from the gay way. So I'm gonna do that through subterfuge. I'm gonna dress like a man. All right? That is how she approaches it. But the real ending of the movie is when they fight the Migs at the end. All right? Because he has passed over into the gay way. They are this gay fighting fucking force. All right? And they're beating beating the Russians. The gays are beating the Russians, all right? And it's over, and they fucking land, and Iceman has been trying to get Maverick the entire time. Finally, he's got him, all right? And what is the last fucking line that they have together? They're all hugging and kissing and happy with each other, and Ice comes up to Maverick, and he says, man, you can ride my tail anytime. Time. And what does Maverick say? Maverick, you can ride my sword fight! Sword fight! Sword fight! Fucking it!
Dude, I love how many times he says the gay way. So, the gay way. Someone asked, what do you think is the essential film to explain the structure of a good film? Examples like Return of the Jedi.
That's very cool.
That's
You
a good
watching
question.
another movie? I never get to watch anymore since they switched me to closing on Wednesdays.
I'm sorry. I hate to hear that. We'll do one more movie. We'll do one more movie. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. So the question you're asking about Return of the Jedi, that story structure is called A Hero's Journey. And A Hero's Journey is older than film. It's older than books. It's old as time. As long as there were stories told around a campfire, there was the hero's journey. Spacebar, go Burr! Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that style of storytelling, the hero's journey, has been around forever. Now, I don't know if that necessarily like immediately makes a good film project, right? But if you are, because like I can't guarantee that any story told in the hero's journey is going to be compelling. Hero's journey's been done so many fucking times. But if you wanted some kind of formatting device, I would look up the plot clock or the story clock. This is what a lot of filmmakers will use to structure their film. I know a lot of screenwriters who use this and they use it religiously. And this is the structure of like 90% of films. Like every Marvel movie you have ever seen uses this. The ordinary world, inciting incident, grappling, binding point, loses and failures, low point, the change is rewarded, strength and power growing, turning point, big surprise, stakes raised, climax, end credits. Basically, if you look at any Marvel movie ever made, it will fit that clock. It will fit that clock. So if you're looking for just like the most ubiquitously used story element, it's that. Any concerns of sameness when using a formula like this, though? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big reason film is dying. Honestly, I think film being relegated to an hour and a half to 2 hours is the death of film, in my opinion. I think it is the reason that so many important projects, good projects, have moved to television. Because television, you can have as many or as little episodes as needed to tell the story on your own time.
GLAAD Awards Sydney Sweeney or the returned Ralph Fiennes. Also, have you seen the GLAAD Awards? Chaos.
Yes, I've seen the GLAAD Awards. Thank you so much. Relegated? Yeah, relegated. Yeah. It's to dismiss to an inferior rank. So it's like to push down. So basically, I just think that the 2 hour story has been told so many fucking times that it's kind of burnt out.
Experiencing restlessness, anxiety, or a general feeling that life isn't what it should be? Ask your doctor about the gay way trademark today.
The gay way. Anyway, yeah, I do think that's why, like, if you've noticed, almost everything that's like really important art-wise really is a show now. Like I can think of 10 shows that are really important that are screening right now. And really in terms of like movies, there's only been like a few films in the last few months where I'm like, oh, that's really important. Like Sinners but yeah, I think it's going to continuously, it's going to keep moving. What shows? Oh, dude, The Studio, The Rehearsal. There's a bunch of shit out right now that's fucking fire. Severance, yeah. There's been a lot of stuff even this year that's been fucking wild. Anyway, I like Sinners. I don't give a fuck. No, Sinners was good. Sinners was real good, but that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is I think people have fatigue with a 2-hour-long project. Common side effects, yeah. Anyway,
Oh yeah, wow.
I think that's going to
very
do it
cool.
for...
You can't handle the point.
What? You can't handle the point?
I'm a stud.
Go
I'm
ahead.
Ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone.
Do you think the Western genre has a chance to resurge and be refreshed for modern audiences? And if yes, what do you think or would like to see about it that is refreshing?
No. I'm going to say no. Do I think there will never be another good Western? No. That's not what I'm saying. Do I think there will be another year in filmmaking where you see like 6 really good Westerns or 6 Westerns in general? No. I don't think you'll ever see that again. I think you might get 1 or 2 a year. One might be good and Bob's your uncle. But what would I like to see in the Western genre? Fuck, man. Give me another tournament arc. Honestly, you're probably asking for something like inclusion, progress. Fuck that. Give me another tournament arc. Give me another Quick and the Dead and make it snappy. Make that shit snappy. Does Western horror exist? Oh yeah, there's a lot of it. Bone Tomahawk, etc., etc., etc. Can we watch it for a few more dollars? I don't really want to watch another Western right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I made you something. It's related to film night. All right, I'll take a look. This looks like if Jim Carrey was in a Western. A Fistful of Whole. That's that's really something. You really did that shit. Thank you. All right, if we're going to do a second movie tonight, we're going to do a movie I want to do. With peace and love, and I've already decided. So fuck you, suck my dick, lick my balls. We're watching what I want to watch, and I've already decided. Fuck yeah. Yeah! Yeah! It's fucking the original Jumanji, baby! In the jungle, you must fucking wait! Double feature night. Double feature night. Wow, look at us. Look at us. I'm tired, you degenerates. Gift some subs. Double movie night was great. Give some goddamn subs in this motherfucker. Yeah. Slug. Yeah, Mr. Fancy Penguin. Woo. Oh, man. People love double movie night. Thank you. Copter. Decoy. Thank you, the Reverend. The Reverend End. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Triple feature? No, I can't. I can't do it. I'm fried. But I just want to say I appreciate you. I just want to say I fucking appreciate you. Give them. Thank you so much. I had a great time. Whoa! Whoa! Fuck my nippies. Guys, thank you so much for the hype train. What the fuck?
Every time I try it, I have to just add a new gum to it. What do you think? Thoughts? Let me know in the comments below.
Thank you. I gotta go clean my house. Thank you guys so much for all the love tonight. I hope you had fun. I'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat place. We'll get it going. Thank you for the 7 months. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed Film Night. Hey, who's still here from the Ludwig raid? Anybody still here from that? Any ones in chat? Dahmers. No worries. Damn, we have a lot of people that stuck around. Well, guys, if you enjoyed this, we do this every single Wednesday. It's a teaching moment. Usually we don't watch a second film, but I drank a fucking Red Bull and I was feeling groovy and I took some time off. So I did a second movie. Usually we watch a movie and we do a little class. So if this was your first film night, I hope you enjoyed it. If you are one of the people that has been here for the last 5 years of film nights, I think we're almost at 230 films now or something like that. Thank you for your longtime support. It is the cornerstone of our community. I really appreciate you showing up every week. If you want to check out some other planned Will Neff content, we have Neff News on Mondays. We have a workout stream we're doing on Sundays. We have film night on Wednesdays. And then everything in between, I kind of just bullshit and pull my dick. So anyway, I want to say thank you so much, Panda Man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to send you over to Sandwich. Please give her the same love and respect you would give me. I'm going to go clean my house. Have a wonderful evening. I hope I made it just this little bit better. I'll see you next time and good night.